So let me start with a question that sounds almost trivial. Light travels at 300 million meters per second. Electrons and copper wires move much slowly. So if light is so much faster, why are modern processors still full of copper wires? When you open a CPU package, you do not see optical waveguides connecting logic blocks. You see metal interconnect everywhere. Copper wires on chip, copper traces in the package, electrical signaling even across boards. And yet, at the same time, the entire internet runs on optical fiber. Even long distance data center connection is optical. So something strange is happening. If optics is supposedly faster, cleaner, and more scalable, why hasn't it replaced electric wiring inside computers? Is the semiconductor industry just slow to adopt a superior technology? Or is there a deeper reason? The surprising answer is this: speed is not the real bottleneck. What actually determines whether a link should be electrical or optical is energy per bit, conversion overhead, integration complexity, and system level physical constraints. And once you account for all of those, the answer becomes far less obvious. There is a persistent intuition that light must inevitably replace electrical wires in computing systems. However, that is not true, and the answer is subtle and quantitative. The limiting factor is not propagation velocity, it is energy per bit, conversion overhead, tuning power, manufacturability, and integration complexity. This is what we will unpack. Now, before debating electric versus optical interconnects, we must define the regime. Optics already dominates long distances. Fiber is unmatched in rack to rack and telecom backbones. No serious engineer disputes that. The real question is whether optics should displace electrical signaling at shorter distances, on chip global wires, chip to chip package links, and dense chip to chip communication. At these scales, conversion overhead begins to dominate the propagation advantage. Therefore, when we ask why not replace wires with light, we are really asking about the millimeter to centimeter domain. That is the battlefield. Now, electrical interconnect delay scales with resistance and capacitance. As wires shrink, resistance rises, capacitance does not scale proportionally, and RC delay becomes increasingly significant. Optical waveguides do not suffer resistive dissipation in the same way. The propagation delay is essentially governed by the refractive index and is not RC limited. Additionally, optics allows wavelength division multiplexing. Multiple data streams can occupy the same physical waveguide at different wavelengths. This changes the scaling law of bandwidth density. So, in principle, optics offers compelling physical advantages, particularly for bandwidth density and long reach. But physical propagation is not the only energy term in the link. The most common misconception about optical interconnect is that propagation dominates energy cost. In reality, the propagation through a short waveguide is nearly free compared to the energy required to generate, modulate, detect, and condition the signal. The analysis establishes aggressive energy targets for optics to be competitive, on the order of 100 femtojoules per bit system level and roughly 10 femtojoules per bit at the optical device level. If optical systems exceed these targets, once lasers, tuning heaters, and driver electronics are included, they lose their advantage at short distances. Therefore, energy accounting must include every stage of the link. Recent DEVAS research has achieved remarkable progress. The 1 femtojoule silicon microring modulator demonstrates that the switching element itself can reach extraordinarily low energy. This is an impressive device milestone. However, a link is more than a modulator. The laser must provide optical power. The detector must convert photons back to electrons. Thermal stabilization may be required for resonant structures. Driver and receiver circuits consume additional energy. Thus, while device energy can approach the femtojoule regime, total link energy often remains significantly higher. This gap between device metrics and system metrics is one of the central reasons optics has not displaced copper at short reach. The single most compelling argument for optics is not speed, it is wavelength division multiplexing. In electrical interconnect, increasing bandwidth typically requires duplicating wires. This increases routing complexity, area consumption, and crosstalk. Optics, by contrast, allows multiple independent wavelengths to occupy the same physical waveguide. Bandwidth scales spectrally. This is extraordinarily powerful for aggregate bandwidth density. However, spectral multiplexing requires precise band wavelength control, filtering structures, and temperature stability. The same mechanism that enables density introduces sensitivity. Now, microrings are elegant devices. Their small mode volume yields extremely low capacitance, enabling sub-femtojoule switching. They also naturally filter specific wavelengths, making them ideal for WDM structures. However, microrings rely on resonance. Resonance is narrowband. Small geometric or temperature variations shift the resonant wavelength. In dense WDM systems, even small temperature drifts can misalign channels. Thus, tuning heaters, trimming methods, or feedback control becomes necessary. Resonance gives us density, but it also introduces stability and yield complexity. Recent work demonstrates extremely high per wavelength data rates reaching hundreds of gigabytes per second. However, increasing modulation bandwidth typically requires lowering the quality factor of the resonator. This broadens the resonance but increases energy cost. Thus, bandwidth and energy are coupled. Furthermore, when many such resonators are integrated into dense WDM arrays, thermal and fabrication tolerances multiply. Scaling optical systems is not just about individual device metrics. It is about managing trade offs across hundreds or thousands of channels. Now, as channel counts increase, fabrication variation becomes unavoidable. Microring and microdisc resonators will not all align perfectly with the intended wavelength grid after fabrication. Post fabrication, trimming techniques can correct these mismatches. However, trimming introduces additional process steps, control circuits, and potentially static power overhead. The scaling optical density introduces a control plane burden. Optical density is powerful, but it's not free. The renewed urgency around optical interconnect is not theoretical. AI training workloads have dramatically increased internode communication volume. Large scale model parallelism requires enormous bandwidth between accelerators. Electrical SerDes links consume increasing power as speeds rise. Equalization overhead grows. Signal integrity becomes challenging at higher data rates. Optics offers an attractive path at rack scale and beyond. Co-packaged optics reduces electrical trace length between transceivers and switches. This optics is moving inward not because copper failed entirely, but because system level bandwidth demands explode. The next gen question is whether optics will move all the way onto the chip. That is what we'll resolve next. Now, co-packaged optics is not an attempt to place waveguides across the entire chip. It's a system level compromise. In traditional architectures, high-speed electrical traces run across the board to reach pluggable optical modules. Equalization and signal integrity overhead become significant at very high data rates. Co-packaged optics moves optical engines directly adjacent to the ASIC, drastically shortening the electrical channel before conversion. This reduces SerDes power and improves front panel bandwidth. Importantly, CPO does not eliminate electrical wiring on chip. It shortens the reach where electrical becomes inefficient. This is the current frontier for optical integration in high performance data centers. Now, electrical interconnect energy per bit increases with distance due to resistive loss and equalization overhead. Optical interconnect energy per bit included a relatively fixed conversion cost, laser inefficiency, modulator energy, detection overhead, which do not scale strongly with distance. Therefore, there exists a crossover distance beyond which optical becomes more energy efficient. However, at millimeter to centimeter scale, electrical links are often still more efficient because the conversion overhead dominates optical energy. Thus, optics is not universally superior, it is distance and bandwidth limited. A waveguide may have negligible propagation loss at short distances, but generating light is not free. Laser wall plug efficiency determines how much electrical power is required to generate optical power. Even if the modulator switches at femtojoule levels, the laser may consume orders of magnitude more power, depending on efficiency and required optical output. As channel count increases in WDM systems, aggregate laser power demand grows. Thus, the energy floor of optical interconnect is often set not by propagation but by the source. This is a fundamental systems level constraint. Electrical equalization at extremely high data rates becomes prohibitively power hungry over long distances. Optics offers superior bandwidth density and avoids many signal integrity limitations inherent to copper. Modern AI clusters rely heavily on optical interconnects at rack scale and beyond. Thus, optics is not speculative, it is already central to large scale computing infrastructure. The debate concerns how far inward optics should move. At millimeter scale interconnect inside chips, electrical wires remain remarkably efficient. No laser is required, no wavelength control is necessary, no resonance stabilization is needed. Electrical signaling integrates naturally with CMOS logic and requires fewer conversion stages. Therefore, at ultra short reach, electrical simplicity and maturity outweigh optical theoretical advantages. The question is not whether optics is superior in principle, it is whether system level energy and integration constraints justify replacing copper at specific distances. That is a nuanced electrical engineering decision. In traditional high performance computing, compute intensity often dominates communication. Modern AI training has shifted this balance. Large models are partitioned across many accelerators. Training requires frequent synchronization of parameters and gradients. Communication patterns resemble dense all to all networks. This increases required bisection bandwidth dramatically. As communication energy becomes a larger fraction of the system, power interconnect is no longer peripheral, it is central. This shift is one reason optics is receiving renewed attention. In scale out scenarios, that is rack to rack communication, optics already dominates. In scale up scenarios within nodes and packages, electrical signaling remains prevalent. Co-packaged optics attempts to bridge this divide. By moving optics to the package boundary, scale up communication can benefit from optical bandwidth without incurring full on chip integration complexity. Thus, optics is not invading the transistor layer, it is advancing inward strategically. Electrical signaling continues to evolve. Engineers reduce voltage swing, optimize equalization, and refine packaging. Electrical interconnect remains deeply integrated within CMOS processes. While RC delay and crosstalk impose limits, they are managed with circuit level innovation. Thus, the future is not binary. Electrical interconnect remains a powerful and evolving technology. The most realistic trajectory is hybrid. Electrical interconnect dominates on chip where simplicity and integration matter the most. Optical interconnect dominates longer distances where bandwidth and signal integrity demand it. Co-packaged optics integrates optical engines at the package boundary. This captures optical bandwidth advantages without forcing full photonic integration with dense logic cores. This hybrid architecture is already being deployed in modern AI infrastructure. Research into dense on-chip photonics continues. Athermal resonator designs aim to reduce tuning power, improved laser integration techniques, attempts to lower wall plug energy penalties, high density microdisk arrays demonstrate impressive parallelism but require trimming and calibration to manage variability. Dense photonic fabrics may become viable, but only if system level energy and manufacturability constraints are solved. This remains an active and serious research frontier. We can now replace intuition with a decision framework. For optics to displace electrical interconnect, five constraints must be satisfied simultaneously. First, total energy per bit must be lower. This includes laser inefficiency, modulator switching, receiver overhead, and tuning power. Second, bandwidth density must be superior, not merely comparable. Third, resonant wavelength stability must remain within the WDM channel spacing across temperature and fabrication variation. Fourth, integration complexity, including packaging and laser integration, must not offset gains. Fifth, yield and trimming overhead must be economically scalable. Optics wins only when all five are satisfied. This is a systems level decision. Interconnect energy scales upward with distance due to attenuation and equalization overhead. Optical interconnect energy includes a relatively fixed conversion cost. It does not increase strongly with short distance propagation. Therefore, there exists a crossover distance beyond which optics becomes more energy efficient. In millimeter scale domains, copper remains more efficient. At rack scale, optics is superior. The decision is quantitative and workload dependent. Device breakthroughs are real and impressive. Sub-femtojoule modulators and hundreds of gigabytes per second per wavelength demonstrate extraordinary engineering. However, system level integration, laser efficiency, thermal tuning, and yield remain limiting factors. Replacing wires is not a device problem alone, it is a systems integration challenge. This is why optics has not replaced copper on chip yet. The most realistic future is hybrid. Electrical interconnect will remain dominant on chip for simplicity and integration. Optical interconnect will dominate long reach and high bandwidth domains. Co-packaged optics will expand as AI workloads demand greater bandwidth density. The direction is not binary replacement, but selective deployment where physics and economics align. The answer to our central question is now clear. Light is not inherently superior at all scales. Optics offers tremendous bandwidth density and long distance efficiency, but requires careful system integration and energy management. Electrical interconnect remains superior at ultra low reach due to simplicity and mature integration. The future is hybrid, workload driven, and quantitative. Optics will continue to expand inward where physics and economics justify it. But replacing every wire with light remains for now unnecessary and impractical. This is the nuanced engineering truth.